best goalies in West Michigan, so we're going to have to be bearing down on our shots. Okay. Yeah, he's not tall. Yeah, he's maybe 5'6" or something. He's not that tall above the crossbar. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, really, really sharp though, really sharp. Oh, okay. Does he play goalie in lacrosse too? Oh, okay. Because a goalie in that sport is not very fun. You don't have much of a chance. Oh, okay. Welcome inside the Patterson Ice Center here in the southeast quadrant of Grand Rapids. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is Cougar Puck Radio back on the air on a Monday for the first time in recent memory, as we've got our final game before the Christmas break for your Cougars, standing at 7-3-1 after a 7-1 win against Midland Dow on Saturday at home. Today, of course, they're on the road to take on the Caledonia Fighting Scots. The Scots in first place in the OKRU division with a record of 9-3, and they have won 5 in a row. The Scots, under first-year head coach Tyler Janicki, have impressed. They continued their upward trajectory. 3 years ago, they won 7 games. 2 years ago, they won 12 games. Last year, they won 18. And this year, on pace for 20 plus. Caledonia so far this season has, they've taken flight recently, and they only had the 1-2 game losing streak back in late November, but they're a perfect 5-0 in December, including victories here against the Salem Rocks and the Big Rapids Cardinals in the West Michigan Hockey Showcase. They also beat Marysville, Grand Rapids Christian, notably 6-0 just last week. And coming off of an impressive win on the road at Munn Ice Arena on the campus of Michigan State University against the Brighton Bulldogs by the count of 4-2. They are led once again in goal scoring by Ty Lewandowski. Lewandowski, the senior, was a big-time member of the squad last year. He paced them in scoring. He's got 9 goals, 16 total points. Harmon Esch, a Lowell student. This is a co-op program, by the way. Caledonia takes players from Lowell and Thornapple Kellogg. Harmon Esch from Lowell. He's not a Red Arrow. He's a Scot when he's wearing skates. He's got 9 goals as well and 17 total points for him. Gabe Supuk has 9 assists to pace this squad. And when you talk the Fighting Scots, you got to talk about their goaltender, the senior Sam Hogue, who had a .950 save percentage last year. He's up at .924 this season, and number 73 in white, purple, and gold will get the start today, as expected, against the Catholic Central Cougars. The Cougars got another goal from their freshman sensation, Gage Potter, last time out, but it was more about who scored for the first time, as Noah Berkmeyer, the sophomore, first-year varsity man, had 3 points, including his first 2 goals. Both of those goals, set up by his sophomore line mate and also newcomer Levi Jensen. So Jensen and Berkmeyer on the score sheet. Cohen Potter centering that line did well to help set up their scoring chances. On top of that, Potter with 4 points on the season, including an assist this past time against Midland Dow. Isaac Kappinga, the Cougar captain, 2 points in the opening 7 minutes to set the tone. Catholic Central led 3-0 after 1, 4-0 after 2, and it was a rare cruise to the finish line for a team that's played a lot of close games this year. In fact, just looking at goals for and goals against, you see the 2 different ways these teams have gotten to pretty good positions in the Roo Division standings. Catholic Central has scored 29 goals. They've allowed 26. Meanwhile, Caledonia scored 49, and they've allowed 29. So the Fighting Scots good at both ends of the ice. The Cougars trying to pump up those offensive numbers, coming off of a 7-goal performance against Dow. That ties for the most by a Cougars team since December 27th, 2022. So nearly 3 years ago, they scored 10 goals at Granville. Since then, they've gotten to 7 on 3 occasions, but they've not gotten past 7. So the Cougars trying to return to past glories when it comes to putting the puck in the net, and they made Dow look like, a team that was definitely porous on the defensive end, even though I thought that Dow coming in was going to give them more of a challenge. As it turned out, the Cougars put forth their best offensive performance of the season for their first-year head coach, Kyle Marchand. Kyle was talking to me before the game. He said that Cal brings both a combination of size and speed, and they're going to have to watch for the Scots trying to open up the game and get through the neutral zone with speed. The Cougars are going to have to stay structurally sound and then push back on the counterattack and hopefully force the Scots to play a lot in their own end. Starting lineups have been announced here. We've got Jacob Aaron as the starting goalie for the Cougars, as expected, against Sam Hogue. It's time for the national anthem from Patterson, so we'll step aside on Cougar Puck Radio and bring it back for the drop of the puck. Big showdown here. Cougars in third in the Roo. The Scots in first, tied with Forest Hills Central. We'll see who comes out on top in the final game before the break in just a moment. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is Cougar Puck Radio. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Last time for calendar year 2025. We'll turn the page to 2026. The Cougars will come out of the break with a couple of games right away on the road as they'll play Rockford on the 2nd of 2026. That's a Friday. 5 o'clock start from Griff's Ice House. We'll have that game for you on CPR. And then they'll be at Trinity Health Arena, the home of the USHL's Muskegon Lumberjacks, on Saturday when they square off with Reith's Puffer. The Cougars start with their top line, if you want to call it that. Isaac Kappinga with Cooper Moss and Gage Potter on the wings. On defense, Morgan Pistelli coming off of his first multi-point performance as a Cougar. And he's joined on the back line by Parker Moore. Moore, who's got 6 points to lead all Catholic Central defensemen. There's the drop of the puck, and Catholic Central in the blue, whacking it ahead to the Scots line, and lassoed by Zach Valiska. Drives it ahead into Cougars territory, and the Scots at 9-3, going back to work after beating Brighton on the road. They've won 5 straight. Catholic Central snapped a 3-game winless streak with that big blowout win against the Dow Chargers a couple of days ago. Osborne reverses it right in front of his own net. Strange bounce. Lewandowski, the co-top gun for Caledonia when it comes to goal scoring. He's got 9 on the year. He was stripped by Kappinga, looking for another big start, but he lost control of the puck. Lewandowski in open ice. Carlander challenged him, forced Lewandowski to mishandle, and the Cougars take it right back. 2 teams with division championship aspirations nearing the midway point of the season. Pistelli was wiped out on a check by the Danish exchange student, William Malum McKeelson. And he goes to Lowell. He's got 3 goals and 7 points on the year, and now he handles the puck on the near wing side. He's got that gleaming silver cage, and he took a bump in neutral ice by Pistelli. So an exchange of hits in the neutral zone during this shift. Both teams getting acclimated with each other quickly. Onstad hammers it down the boards. Carlander worked it toward the middle. Dozema couldn't pick it up, so it's on the tape of Reynolds. And Jack Reynolds looked to backhand it in deep, but that was off a skate. It ricochets back out to center. Pistelli shot it in, and that hit someone in the bench, it appeared, and then Pistelli was checked into the penalty box. Boy, rough shift for Morgan Pistelli. Crushed twice, and he ended up going through the door, which was not securely closed. That could be really dangerous. I'm glad that nothing terrible happened. I've seen players fall onto the edge of the doorway, and that's caused some serious injuries over the years. So you got to make sure those doors are closed and latched. After the neutral zone face-off, Onstad pokes it ahead. Noah Onstad, 3 goals on the season for him. Penalty coming up, and McLean had the stick whacked out of his hands, but a tripping call is coming, and I think it is against Caleb McLean. Yeah, he's making that skate of shame over to the box, 2 for tripping. So McLean dropped his stick. That's what I saw, but that was after he'd committed the tripping infraction with 15:07 left in the first period. The Cougars go short. They were 6 for 6 on the kill against Dow. Big part of their win on Saturday, but Caledonia presents a different challenge. To the goal line, and Drew Nichols behind the goal, hands off to Harmon Esch. 2 power play goals on the year for him. Exchanges to Ryland Boltima. There's Mikkelsen off for Esch, and a one-time shot turned away by Aaron. He's into the game. And kicked forward and played on to Moss. Short-handed chance. Backhand. I think a blocker save was made by Hogue. Hard to tell if the shot just missed or maybe Hogue got a piece. But Sam Hogue and Jacob Aaron exchange saves at either end. Aaron on the key one-timer chance from the right circle, and Hogue on the partial breakaway for Cooper Moss. This is Esch winding it up for Caledonia. Due north with it. Harmon Esch, right-handed shot, stripped by Parker Moore. Esch got it right back. Worked it into the corner. That's Landon Moore. Landon looks it over, number 18 in white. Baltimore takes the snap pass, shooting, and that's off target. Rebound off the end boards, and Aaron had to make a save there on Moore, and it's cleared by Onstad all the way down. 41 seconds to go on the power play. Caleb McLean in the box for tripping in the early going here. Goalless game. Ethan Sova, yes, familiar name. He's the cousin of former Cougars Gabe and Nate Sova. And Ethan assesses and fires off the shoulder of Aaron. Big stop through traffic, not even sure he saw it, but it hit him. Sova takes the pass, again, working the center point. Lewandowski, a hard shot, handled by Aaron, and he pounces on the rebound in the blue paint. Lewandowski trying to go under the crossbar with that wrister on his strong side, but he took that pass beautifully and snapped it off all in one motion. Line change for Caledonia. Their first-year coach, Tyler Janicki, calling out for Lewandowski to come to the bench. Excuse me. Malum Mikkelsen is out there, number 17, on the right side now. And Malum Mikkelsen knocks it down as he headed off the clear by Parker Moore. Flipped off the back of the net by Esch, and he hit the back of the net. The puck came careening up into the air. He gloved it down, handed it off. Eitel Arister, and that didn't get through. Well, that was a weird one. I think he was trying the Trevor Zegras play from a couple of years ago when he lifted the pass over the net and nearly pulled it off, did Esch. Points for creativity, if not execution. But we're back to 5-on-5 as McLean has just escaped from the penalty box. He goes to the bench, and the Cougars trying to take control back as Mikkelsen threw it behind the goal, centered out in front, picked off by Ten Harmsel. And here comes Casey. Skating it ahead, in over the line, dropped it back, shot by Moss, pad save by Hogue. Both teams have had good chances. Dished out by Gage Potter. Gavorkian wristing. He's coming off his first goal. That one was off target, though. Kappinga left it. Bottom edge of the circle. Potter takes the exchange from Moss. Gavorkian shooting through traffic off the toe of Hogue's pad, and it ricochets to the far wall where it's taken by Camden Quigley. Turned it over to Kappinga. He had his stick lifted, though, from behind by Esch, who is definitely a two-way player. He's put in a shift on the defensive side. Malum Mikkelsen clears all the way down. No icing. That was deflected by a Cougar. 5 minutes in. Action-packed start to this, despite the no goals on the board. Jensen looked to lob it behind Evan Moore. Couldn't do it. Lewandowski on the move. Quick skating winger makes the pass. It was blocked. Got it right back. Out to Moore. High shot. Missed the target. Aaron watched it with a wary eye. It ends up behind the goal. Just a lot of pace to this game early on. Ten Harmsel clears all the way down the river, and that's an icing against Catholic Central with 11:33 to go in period number 1. The Cougars are 2-1 in OK conference games so far this season. Haven't played a ton of them, but they'll get into that meat of the schedule in January and beyond. And of course, we have the OK conference tournament to look forward to in early February. The tournament was the only time I saw Caledonia last year. Aaron freezes the puck off the draw. Lewandowski lurking. As I called a semifinal game in the conference tournament between Caledonia and East Grand Rapids. East won that in overtime. East won all 3 games in overtime en route to the title. Both these teams have good reason to believe they could be there at the end on that weekend. But that's still a long ways off. Got to build up the foundation of the season. Moore, a high drive, hit a body in front, came right back to Dozema, but his backhand was blocked. Turned out high to Onstad by Carlander. Pad save again by Hogue. That might have been slightly off target, but he didn't care about that. He wanted to feel the puck. Moore couldn't clear. Got it right back. Did Evan Moore. He turns it over to Parker Moore at center ice, who can't navigate the blue line, and it's up for grabs at center. Lead pass by Onstad. That does not connect to Moore, his defense partner, who was up on the attack, and it's another icing call. put that puck in the freezer and bring it back down to the other end with 10:37 to go in the first. The Fighting Scots are in game number 13. I mentioned they've scored 49 goals. So they're averaging just a shade over 4 goals per game. That's a healthy number. The Cougars at 29 goals through 11 games. They're trying to get it up over 3 on average. That'll be their next step. Nichols ripped it away from Moss, who pulled up inside the blue line. Gavorkian now leads the charge for Catholic Central. His drifting shot, partially blocked, ended up fluttering toward goal. Hogue punched it away to the corner. And a check from behind by Nichols on Gavorkian. That'll be a power play for the Cougars. So Catholic Central working the puck below the goal line, and they get rewarded for it as the penalty committed by Drew Nichols. Nichols, the high-scoring forward with 11 points on the year, but he'll have a seat with 10:07 to go in the first. And the Cougars, who put in a power play goal on 5 chances last time out. The partner was actually a 1-for-4 performance for Catholic Central. They'll get the first power play unit revved up here. And the question is it 2 or is it 5? Is it a major penalty or is it a 2-minute minor? It's a 5-minute major. I'm assuming checking from behind is the call. But Catholic Central gets another major power play. They've had a sequence of them in recent games. And the one they did score on was here in the West Michigan Hockey Showcase, but turned back through neutral ice, and Lewandowski chasing it shorthanded. Onstadt, despite all the Sturm und Drang, he made it back there to take the puck away. Wasn't intimidated by Lewandowski, who was soaring down the wing, trying to use that speed to intimidate. Onstadt, the pass right by Lewandowski onto the blade of Moss. He connects on to Parker Moore, and the Cougars are in the attacking zone. 5-minute power play. See what they can do with it. Onstadt with some space. Exchanges some more. A shot blocked by Sova, and it ricochets out to the red line. Onstadt with Sova on his back. Twists the pass off to Parker Moore. Up ahead to Kappinga. Has a look from the near side half wall. Hangs on to the puck. Circles, gets by Quigley, made the play out to the blue. There's Moore. Onstadt calling for it, gets it, shoots it, blocked in front. Moss poked it toward the net, loose puck, and it ends up ricocheting off the pads of the goalie Hogue and just wide into the corner. Esch, the high flip, too high, has ended up in the rafters as Kappinga delivered the boom on the check alongside the far side boards, and Esch did not like it. He gets into Kappinga's face, and the two exchange some words. Yeah, both sides want this one bad. Like I was saying, last chance before the break to get your competitive juices flowing. Cal won't play again until Wednesday, January the 7th against Forest Hills Northern and Eastern right here. Right to the goal. Carlander fan. Dozema put it on net, bidding for his first goal of the year, but he was denied by Hogue, who got over to the near side post. Rebound collected by Dozema. He swirls and shoots, and just wide of the left post. Carlander hacks it back to the point, but away from Ten Harmsel. He's got to go fish. 3:32 to go on the major penalty to Drew Nichols for checking from behind. Ten Harmsel left it back. With speed, Dozema, who's got 3 power play assists, including one this past Saturday on the Carlander goal in the third. Good work by Pastelli to work it on back to Ten Harmsel. His wrist shot goes deflecting wide. Jensen playing the net front with that massive frame, but now he's just trying to win the puck back. Pastelli slashed the stick of Lewandowski and broke it, and that's a penalty back against Catholic Central. So we'll go to 4-on-4 for a while as Pastelli reports to the penalty box, and the Cougars' power play chance cut short for now. There's still 3:03 to go on the major penalty, so after 2 minutes of 4-on-4, barring any other calls, the Cougars will get another power play chance out of it. But for now, they've got to play at even strength. You got to watch out for the quick strike abilities of the Scots with all this open ice. And Lewandowski is out there, as is Sova, Ethan Sova. Moss latching onto the puck, though. Cooper Moss, 3 goals on the year. And the senior couldn't quite turn the corner against Quigley. Good defense, using his stick and his body in equal measure. Back out high in the zone. Ethan Sova collecting. 7:42 to go in the first period. More than halfway through the opening frame. Still awaiting our first goal. Eitel pinches up, and the Thornapple Kellogg student inadvertently tossed it off the rink into the screen. So we will, I think, keep the puck in the attacking zone. That might have been deflected. 1:24 to go on the penalty to Morgan Pistelli for slashing. Cal will not get a power play out of this scenario, but they'll at least get a breather from killing off that 5-minute major before the power play will kick back in for the Cougars. That's 1 minute and 20 seconds away, though. Moore escapes, handed it off. Heminger takes it off the wall. Onstadt, head up. His pass for Reynolds, redirected ahead. Eitel back for it, but Heminger wins the race to it. Put it out in front. Reynolds couldn't get a backhand shot away as he was smacked by Eitel, who for a moment was out of position, but he recovered well after Heminger centered it. Heminger and Reynolds, the forwards, out on the ice for the Cougars at the moment. Moore, Parker Moore, and Noah Onstadt are the defenders. Boltema, fan on the shot for Caledonia. And that was Veliska, I should say. And it's Onstadt at center ice for Catholic Central. 1-on-2. Onstadt looking for the sharp angle chance, and he ripped it off the arm of Hogue, and it deflects over the high glass for a face-off. 29 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4 situation. .638 remaining in the period. Quick moving frame. Plenty of end-to-end stuff. Carlander on the face-off, trying to kick it forward. It'll end up in Dozema's reach. Gavorkian, a shot deflected right down to the ice by Caledonia's Osborne, but wide. Ten Armsel wristing, and it skips off the ice right into the glove of Sam Hogue, and the senior keeper's got it covered. I'm told this is actually Hogue's second sport. He is a lacrosse player, but not a goalie in lacrosse. Landon Moore is the goalie for the Cal lacrosse side. And we know Catholic Central also a prideful lacrosse school as well. Dozema behind the goal, pinning the puck there. 10 seconds to go before the power play restarts. Ted Arms a one-timer. That was blocked by Moore in the slot. It pinballs wide, but Gavorkian's on it. 10 Armsel, the pass to Dozema, and too many men on the ice. And pointing toward the Catholic Central bench, they've got an extra man on the ice because the penalty to Pistelli was over, but the referee blew the whistle. I'm confused. They needed to get their fifth man out there. Did they have six? Yeah, I think, yep. There was some confusion there on the part of the official. No, there's not. Huskins is going to the penalty box to serve the penalty. So did the Cougars have six out there then, briefly? All I saw was five, but I wasn't really watching that closely at the far end of the ice, down to our right, because the play was to our left. Wow, so either a tough break or a really sharp official there. I'm not sure which, but we're back to 4-on-4 for the next 53 seconds, and then Cal's going to have a power play on the backside of all this. Too many men on the ice against Catholic Central, but here's Kappinga. Still trying to grab momentum, but dispossessed, and Moore slings it across the ice for the shoot-in by Veliska. A bench minor for too many men on the ice. Shot toward the net and deflected by Lewandowski, and a save by Aaron. Veliska guided it through traffic. Kappinga got hit up high by Lewandowski. It jarred his face mask a bit. Kapinga and Lewandowski going toe-to-toe, two of the top players in this game. Kapinga pulls up inside the blue line. The Cougars captain against Quigley. Quigley wins that puck battle. Kapinga trying to yank it back. Quigley dashes in behind his net. And with 3 seconds to go on the penalty to Drew Nichols, it's over. Cougars shorthanded, but here's Onstad firing from between the circles, and it's gloved and kept by Hogue. So now it's a Caledonia power play for the second time today. The Cougars did enjoy a 2-second power play, enjoy in air quotes, before the too many men call was made. So there must have just been some confusion at the Catholic Central bench as they were trying to get that extra man on to start the advantage, and they got 2 men on inadvertently. And the puck redirected off the ice surface over the Cougars bench. There's a lot of room behind the benches at the East rink here at Patterson because this used to be an Olympic-sized ice sheet. Now it's North American size. They took 15 feet off the width, still 200 feet in length. But Olympic rinks are roughly 200 by 100 feet. Moore ends up on his backside as he ran into Nichols. He still wrenched the puck free, which was the whole point of it there anyway, but Moore's got to get back up. This is a hard-hitting game. Evan Moore retrieving it, taking it from his goaltender, handing it to Esch. He's a big guy who can move. Harmon Esch down the wall. Couldn't get past Moore, good stick check. Puck available. Here's Drew Nichols, fresh out of the penalty box. Handed it. Mitchell closing on the cut-in move. Aaron makes the big save right at the end of the power play. And he covers it up with 4:04 to go in the first, keeping it 0-0. Bryce Mitchell trying to get his 5th of the year, and he took it right to the front of the net. But we're back to 5-on-5. Definitely one of the higher-paced games I've seen this year. I called a game between East Grand Rapids and Trenton earlier this season that reminded me of this one in terms of how locked in everybody is. If the Cougars can win this one, they'll climb within 1 point of Caledonia for the top spot in the OKRU division. Currently Caledonia tied with Forest Hills Central. Both teams have 9 wins in the early going. Gavorkian picks off the clearing attempt at the blue line and shoves it right back, cross corner. Driven in deep by Jack Reynolds. Reynolds now peeling back as the Scots clear it to the Cougar line. Pastelli banking it, but it's intercepted by Itel. He's run into by Jackson Dozema. One of those games where you got to watch after the puck has moved just to see who's throwing the hits and what might come of that. Aaron stops the dump in behind his goal. Jacob Aaron coming off of another 1 goal against outing. He's got a shutout on the year and one of the best goals against averages in the area at 2.40. Lewandowski, inside out move against Gavorkian, catches up to it, fires! Aaron the save. And again, he hangs on. 2:54 to go in the period. The Scots have a couple of shutouts on the year as well. They blanked Forest Hills Central 5-0, and just recently beating Christian. Grand Rapids Christian has lost 8-0 and 6-0 in recent weeks, so the Eagles are going to be happy to see the holiday break. Into the middle, Lewandowski backhand, patted out by Aaron. Loose though, Moore a shot blocked by Onstad. He got in the way. Way out in the high slot. And here's Noah Onstad. Made the pass. It went right by Moss, but Potter is in after it. That's Gage Potter, the freshman. Off to Moss, centering Onstad open. He scores! From the bottom edge of the left circle. Noah Onstad rifles it under Hogue from close range. And it's a Festivus for the rest of us. 1-0 Catholic Central. Brilliant pass across. Onstad, the defenseman, getting up into the attack for his 4th goal of the year. And the Cougars have the first strike in this OK-Roo Division showdown. Moss should be credited with an assist. That'd be his first helper of the season, believe it or not, to go with the 3 goals. So the Cougars don't score on the major power play. It was interrupted, most notably, but Moss does get an assist. And Gage Potter picks up the secondary. Gage Potter, a team-high 9 points for the freshman. Ten Harmsel flags down the puck, avoids the hit, and makes a great feed off to Carson Carlander. Long shoot in, Hogue has it stopped there. Gave it to Esch, who reaches out with under 2 to go in the first period. Cougars lead it on the Onstad goal. 5-on-5 tally. Esch off to Mikkelsen, but his dish was redirected into the path of Moss. Centering deflected by Gage Potter. It just hopped wide. That close to a second for Catholic Central. Gavorkian pumps it on frame from center ice. And the Cougars have an extra jump in their step after the goal, capping a shot. And that was deflected just wide. Went through a maze of bodies en route to the goal mouth. Itel, one hand on his stick, handed it off to Baltima. Poke checked at the line. Gage Potter back with it, a backhand feed. And that's right into the clutches of Evan Moore. Moore's delivery ahead of Mitchell. Mitchell chasing, no icing here. Mitchell bangs bodies with Gavorkian, centers it out in front. Intercepted by Parker Moore with 50 seconds to go in the period. Moore slaloming through center ice, has a look, backhand pass. Reynolds trying to lift the stick of Valiska, couldn't do it. Carlander, though, catches up to it just inside the line. Centering play by Reynolds, off the body of Carlander, then off Hogue. Still loose, ship shot by Moore, and it's handled by Hogue. And he gets the whistle. 31 seconds left in the first. Entertaining opening 17 minutes from Patterson. If you're a Cougars fan, you've got to love the way your team has showed up to compete against one of the top teams in the area. Catholic Central hoping to be one of the top teams in the area. Considered that by the end of this season. After a couple of years around 500, Catholic Central at 7-3 with one tie heading into this game. Face-off won by Caledonia, but handed right back over to Ten Harmsel in front of his own blue line. Lead pass, rattled off a stick and deflected. Dozema, though, hacked it forward. Here's Cohen Potter, shot out of a cannon. Potter, the junior, left the puck behind, though. 13 seconds to go in the period. Taking over Carlander. Mishmash line here with Carlander, Dozema, and Cohen Potter. Potter along the goal line, threw it out in front off the stick of Hogue, who was run into by his own man amidst all the chaos. And time runs out in the first period. The Cougars all over Caledonia at the end of the frame. 1-0 Catholic Central on a goal by Noah Onstad, assisted by Moss and Gage Potter. That's all as far as the scoring plays are concerned, but man, there was a lot to take in from that first period. Both teams putting out their best on a Monday afternoon from Patterson. Keep it right here on Cougar Puck Radio for the second period in about 10 minutes' time. Stay with us.
Well, so then when you get home, you take a nap, which doesn't help. Taking naps at 4 o'clock every day doesn't help.
I wouldn't fight it right now.
Once you're like over 25 or 30, I don't care when you take a nap.
As long as you get it.
But at 17, probably don't need to be. Shouldn't be normal to have to take a nap.
Yeah, because you're going to wake up with sugar.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if he's got any. Brian's got photos of him. He must have put food in the photos.
They got ice cream. They've got available ice. You would think so. They may be looking to fund something with it. I don't know. I mean, you could get some. But with that also means whoever's working there has to work more hours. You know. This one would be a surprising loss. I think they beat them last year. Catholic might have. Or who do you think won last year? Catholic. Yeah, they were a lot better last year. Yeah, I would definitely say though, if you can, like the spring and summer steaks are pretty good. They don't cost a whole lot either. And I thought it was really, for the amount of ice you got, I think they were looking 300-400 a session, and you got like 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, sure. Plus, I think it helps just to get the snow off the ground.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Well, he goes middle though. He takes because like the snows will get the noise and the frost for him.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That works. I appreciate that. Second period time from Patterson, and if the second is as good as the first, we're in for a real treat. Noah Onstadt. The Cougars remain in good hands with all Onstadt as he buries his fifth goal of the year. What am I saying? Tying Gage Potter for the team lead. Onstadt from Moss and Gage Potter. And Potter, the top point getter for the Cougars, as the centering play from behind the net by Lewandowski. The puck stopped in some wet ice in the near corner. That helps the cause. That's not home ice advantage for Caledonia. Banged wide of the goal from Landon Moore. That deflected off the blocker of Jacob Aaron. Cohen Potter scoots it through center. He was upended, but play allowed to continue on. What a great play from Gage Potter. Flat on his belly. Hooked the pass across to Parker Moore, who sends it ahead. Cohen Potter in after it. He and Gage team up. It's a Potter party once again, this time in Grand Rapids. Those two brothers scored. Well, hold that thought. Moss shooting and deflected over the net. I think it was deflected. Might have been just a rolling puck that Moss got underneath of. As I was saying, both Cohen and Gage Potter scored 15 seconds apart, give or take a few ticks, up in Gaylord a couple of weeks ago. Icing against Catholic Central on the fresh sheet. That puck scoots all the way down with speed. In some spots, as Ty Lewandowski found out, if you catch the wet part of the ice, it's the opposite effect. It happens. It's one of the difficulties of the first minute or so of a period. You have to make sure you don't skate into a small pond at times, depending on the Zamboni and the conditions of the ice, all that sort of thing. Dozma on it here. Throws it out high and off the skate of Onstad. He's got to retreat as Malum Mikkelsen is in pursuit of Casey Ten Harmsel. Just saw his older brother Liam here. Also saw former Cougars Nate Sova and Ryder Mulvey. They're here as well. Ten Harmsel, the shot. That was blocked out high by Esch. So far, so good for the Cougars, trying to beat the number 8 ranked team in Division II and the top team in the OKRU division. They're up 1-0. Early stages, second period. Scooped on the backhand by Carlander. It goes in deep 2 minutes into the second period. Eitel reverses it over to Quigley. Hard pass to Esch. Right back on goal. Look, Al Hogue's got to make a save on some friendly fire. Good thing he wasn't staring up at the rafters or something. That would have been a horrifying own goal for Caledonia. But here they come again, as it'll be Drew Nichols. Down into the corner, Nichols. Behind the goal, wraparound, and Aaron keeps it out with the right pad, and he gets the stoppage in play. Nifty play by Nichols, and he nearly turned that one in from the post. Nichols, one of 6 skaters for Caledonia with 4 or more goals. Esch and Lewandowski with 9 apiece. Ethan Sova's got 8. Nichols, Mitchell, and Gabe Supuk all have 4. Pastelli off the near wall. Up ahead it goes. The Cougars now attacking the goal to our right, in case you haven't figured it out yet. Gavorkian. First man back to the puck. Tough spot. Couldn't backhand it by Mitchell, but here's Cooper Moss helping out deep in his own end. Gavorkian's feed redirected off the stick of Evan Moore of Caledonia, but punched right through center ice by Gage Potter. He couldn't connect on to Kapinga cleanly. He was run off the puck on a check by Bryce Mitchell. Turned over and thrown right to the front, and Hogue's got to make a save on that one. 13:52 remaining in the second period. As you can see there on your device screen. Big thanks to Eli Rice, student assistant, for helping out with the camera. Also want to give a shout to our Catholic Central Gold sponsor, Innovia Wealth, and our Royal Blue sponsors, Chrisback, Fox Motors, Sharp Automotive, and 3-in-1 Solutions for making Catholic Central hockey and Cougar Puck Radio possible. Evan Moore couldn't clear. It hops off a stick over to Landon Moore. Turned it over in the middle. Heminger turned it toward net, and that was off a stick. And the Scots shoot it out of play. Inadvertently, Zach Veliska put too much air under that one. No penalties yet in the second period. The Cougars committed 3 in the first, but they were only shorthanded twice because one of those was during a major power play for them. Caledonia was only called for 1 penalty, but it was of the 5-minute variety. And even though the Cougars didn't score on that, I think it helped them gradually take control of this game and eventually put in the first goal of the game. Still a long way to go. Moore takes it off the wall, shoots, score! I don't think it was deflected. I think it sailed right past Sam Hogue's ear through traffic. And Moore, either way, deflected or not, he's got another point. As of right now, I'm giving him the goal. It's his third of the season. 2 defenseman goals for Catholic Central. And with 13:11 to go in the second, they double their lead to 2. And he stands up next to a mountain. Parker Moore, one of these prolific scoring Cougar blue liners this year. It's been a theme all season long, and it continues. What you might say is the biggest game of the year for Catholic Central. So an early goal in the second. And the Cougars trying to surprise some folks today. Not themselves, of course. They have certainly felt like they could give Caledonia all they could handle, but I know if you're watching it from the outside, the Scots have been hot, and like I mentioned, they're on a multi-year positive trajectory. The Scots going from 7-18 3 years ago to last year 18-6-1 as the puck cleared into the Caledonia bench by Onstad as he stumbled down. So that'll keep the face-off in Cougars real estate. But anyway, last year, I know the Scots were disappointed. They lost in overtime to Byron Center in a controversial decision. It wasn't clear the overtime goal even went in for Byron Center. That was down in Kalamazoo in the regional semis. And that ended their season in very bitter fashion. So they've got a little extra motivation this year, do the Scots. Dozema first on the puck. Parker Moore does get credit for the goal initially. If it was tipped, it might have been off of a Cal player, quite honestly, as Ash leans in. Ash trying to get one back for the Scots. They're down by a deuce on home ice. His pass out to the point, deflected. Jack Reynolds got a stick on that. Reynolds trying to take it away from Moore at center ice. Moore coughed it up under duress. There's Parker Moore, bouncing play right by Ash. Moss, oh, he couldn't corral it. Otherwise, he could have easily turned the corner against Evan Moore, but that biscuit just wouldn't settle down. Bryce Mitchell to the corner, threw it back against the grain into the faceoff circle. Poked out high, Evan Moore. Good dish. Baltimore drive, deflected by Ten Harmsel over the crossbar. Gage Potter, can he clear? He cannot. Held in by Nichols. Flipped it down the half wall. There's Gage Potter, lost control of it. Bumped by Nichols. Bodies go flying on the far side. Puck up for grabs. Parker Moore wins the battle, and Moore chips it to himself down the left wing. He's got Moss making a beeline for the near side post. Moore, now Moss setting up in front. Tried to center. That was rejected. 11.5 to go in the second period. The Scots take over, and they clear just barely out to center as Potter couldn't quite keep it in. Gage Potter battling at the red line, though, and taken over by Moore and hammered right back into Scots territory. From behind the net, it's Moss. Jousting with Evan Moore. Moss wins the puck. Gives it off. Capping a holding, centering. Ten Harmsel shot, glove. Save by Hogue. And he hangs on. That wrister might have been going just outside the right post, but Hogue didn't take any chances, even as he lost his goal stick. And he halts play with 10:55 remaining in the second. Kappinga coming off his first multi-point effort of the season. But he goes to the bench here as Colnon takes the face-off with McLean and Heminger on his wings. Snapper by Ten Harmsel off a Caledonia stick. It rattles to the corner and flipped right back into the slot by McLean. That's intercepted, but given right back to McLean. He and Colnon playing the two-man game in the corner. Heminger joins the fray, wrists it wide off the side of the goal frame. McLean reaching out, and he's got it right back for Catholic Central, keeping it just inside the blue line. Quigley can't clear. Colnon's on it. Hard work and shift for Catholic Central. His pass out to the top. There's Gavorkian wristing off a stick. Tough to get shots through in this game, too. Both teams have struggled trying to get Shots from, say, the tops of the circles and on out all the way through. Teams are selling out on both sides to block shots. Icing against Caledonia. 10:03 left in the frame. The Cougars coached by Kyle Marchand. He's assisted by a couple of guys who have a lot of experience behind the Cougars bench. Mike Moss and Corey Carlander. Dave DeSander, the goalie coach. And Nate Lutz, the athletic trainer. We don't talk about those guys enough. All very critical to the Cougars' success. Ripped ahead by Sova. Ricocheted off a Cougar stick. Right to the front. Turned into the goal. Ash got it there, and it's poked in. No, it's not. Wave it off. The referee says no goal. Critical call, and it remains 2-0. I don't know if he's saying that Aaron was run into. Ash wrapped it around. I don't know who got the last touch on it for Caledonia. It might have been Sova, could have been Moore. They're all crashing the net, and the referees are going to give Caledonia coach Tyler Janicki an explanation. The Scots were celebrating, but does not count. Perhaps the net was knocked off its pegs, because that right post was definitely not in the proper spot after the scrum at the net front. Dozema almost got all the way through and poked it behind Evan Moore, but just one stop shy of that. Shot by Onstad, deflected right down off the pad of Hogue, who makes the save. This is Esch, rifling from the corner. That's redirected high. Sova trying to shoot it toward the net. Tipped off the near side window. Mikkelsen tried to center. It comes on to Esch on the pass from Sova, and it's taken away and ripped all the way down the rink by Reynolds. That's an icing against Catholic Central. Goals in this game for Catholic Central by Noah Onstadt and Parker Moore. Onstadt's 5th, Moore's 3rd. Both from the blue line. Although Onstadt's was scored from the inner edge of the left circle, just about 10 feet out. You don't know where you're going to see Cougars defensemen this year. They're all over the place. Baltimore letting it go. Denver got all the way through. Moss to the puck. Lost it to Mitchell. Saucers it right through the top of the crease, but wide. 10 Harmsel stapled to the boards. The Cougars wanted a call on that. They're not going to get it. Still no penalties in this period, although the physicality pretty close to the level it was at in the first. You often see teams hit a lot in the first period, trying to set a tone. Moore takes the turnover as Moss forced it. Moss got it back in the slot. Fan on the first one, got the second shot away, and Hogue kept it out, and then Moss is pummeled to the ice. After all that, he went hard to the net, and we got a penalty called here. Looked like Baltimore shoved Moore from behind, and Caledonia is saying that Moss was trying to wedge Hogue's pads apart and get that loose puck. I think I misidentified the Cal player who got called for the penalty. It's Drew Nichols, and Nichols slams the penalty box door as he's sent off for 2 more. He was the man who committed the 5-minute boarding major in the first. Now we're going to see 5-on-5. It's not going to be a power play as Isaac Kappinga is in the box for Catholic Central. So coincidental minors, and we'll stay at 5-on-5. Almost exactly midway through regulation time. 8:27 to go in the second period. So after all that, nothing changes on the ice, except for the players, of course. The Cougars making a late change. The linesman, though, is trying to prevent that from happening. The linesmen are saying that the change was made too slowly on the Cougars' part. So the Potters and Moss will stay out there with 10 Harmsel and Moore. Berkmeyer and Jensen were trying to get out on the surface, but it's not going to happen. There's the drop of the puck. Cohen Potter wedges it back. 10 Harmsel closes, shoots. Save Hogue. He saw that one the whole way, unlike the Morris shot that eluded him earlier in the period. If Hogue saw that one, it was a little too late. Sometimes as a goalie, you just got to position yourself as well as you think that you can. It's an educated guess a lot of times when you can't see all the way through to the shooter. The Cougars do get Berkmeyer and Jensen out there for this offensive zone face-off after the shot came through, but kicked out to center by Caledonia's Osborne. Down the boards it goes, pass to the middle by Berkmeyer, and he got it back from 10 Harmsel. Look out, he's run off by Osborne, held in at the blue by Evan Moore. Lob behind the Cougars net. 10 Harmsel escapes, pushed it up the far wing, but again kept in by Evan Moore. 10 Harmsel flushed it out with his body. Cohen Potter driving wide. Potter stops behind the net. It's Potter between the two sophomores, Jensen and Berkmeyer. Hammered around the wood. Berkmeyer takes it off the kick play right toward the front of the net. Hogue lets it go and it misfired. Parker Moore down the boards. Chipping it to himself, Moore on his backhand. He's cross-body blocked by Zach Veliska, and out with it come the Scots. High shot from center ice by Bryce Mitchell. Ends up on the back apron of the goal, and a little street hockey play there. Gavorkian trying to just whack the net to get it to come off the back of the goal frame, but it did not, so the whistle sounds. With 7:16 left in the second, the Cougars with a 2-spot early in this one. I guess it's no longer early. We're in the second half of this game, officially. So far, limiting Caledonia. Cal had a goal waved off earlier in this period that would have made it 2-1. Never really got the explanation on why. Not that I expect one, but sometimes you can tell by the signal from the referees. Not in this case, and it wasn't announced over the PA. McLean settling in, drop pass, eludes Pastelli, but Collinon covering for the defenseman at the point. He sends it right back in below the goal line. Collinon on the half wall this time. Tossed it back behind the net. Heminger lost control of it. Esch shoots it over the glass in his own end. Today's game a matchup of two goalies who have played a lot this year. Sam Hogue has been the starter for all but 2 games for Caledonia. Will Dickey and Brady Saunders have 1 game apiece, 2 backups for the Scots. For the Cougars, they don't have a backup. It's Jacob Aaron the rest of the way. Centering play, score! Esch puts it between Aaron's legs on the centering pass from William Malum Mikkelsen, and it's 2-1. Caledonia does get the icebreaker with 6:35 remaining in the second. And there was not a lot of room for that pass to come through. Give credit to Malum Mikkelsen, the Danish exchange student who attends Lowell High School. He threw it right to the front of the net, and Esch scored his team-leading 10th goal of the season. And the Cougars lead cut back to 1. You always hope for the shutout, but you don't expect to blank a high-powered team like Caledonia. The Cougars trying to get back on the attack. Potter lobs it down the wood. Back behind the goal, Eitel. Carlander confronts him. Up the far side, Onstad decides to backpedal, and it's flipped behind him, helping out 10 Harmsel. Those are 2D who know how to play with each other right there. 10 Harmsel sensed there might have been trouble, and he crept over to that far side boards. 10 Harmsel on that side now, on his off wing, his off-handed side, if you will, and the right-handed defenseman makes a smooth pass on to Reynolds. Scooted it through, did Reynolds, looking for Cohen Potter. He'll catch up to it eventually. He was pulled down, and that's a penalty called by the referee out at center ice. Yanked down by Veliska, the defenseman, and Catholic Central gets a power play with 5:41 remaining in the period. Well earned, I would say. Cohen Potter continues to bring the energy for CC. And officially a third power play for the Cougars. Holding the call against Velisca. Onstadt takes the clean face-off win, courtesy of Kappinga. Handing, Moss, near side pass, Moore, open for a shot, but that was closed down in a hurry and blocked by Quigley. The Cougars to it, Gage Potter out to Onstadt. He was calling for it. He shoots off the blocker of Hogue, loose high in the zone, and flicked to center by the hardworking Lewandowski. Moss, though, takes it back for Catholic Central. Smoothly works it over to Potter, right back to Moss on the exchange through neutral ice, and now he's down in behind the net. Rubbed out by Quigley. Moore can't clear past Onstadt. Look out. Nearly a break chance for Sova, who was pushing for a shorty, but he couldn't get it behind Onstadt. The Cougars right back into the attacking zone. Onstadt a shot off the chest of Hogue. Through a screen again. The Cougars running all sorts of interference in front, legally, of course. Potter the shot, blocked inadvertently by his own man, Kappinga, who worked it out high. No, he didn't. It stuck there on the half wall, and Quigley clears for Caledonia. Sova looking to get around Moore. Parker Moore got in the way and headed him off at the pass. 47 seconds to go on the power play. Moss dispossessed by Sova. Couldn't come out of his own end with it, but here's Parker Moore covering up. Mitchell closed down the far side, so Moore settles in behind, lost it to Bryce Mitchell. Mitchell trying to kill some time and maybe look for a man in front. Instead, he hangs on to it, still with the puck. Moore finally checks him. Oh, and a penalty called against Moore. Elbowing is the call, and the power play is over, and Mitchell gives Moore a shove, and the linesman says to Moore, go to the penalty box. As Nichols then grabbed Mitchell to try to prevent him from committing a penalty to even things up. Or, I mean, keep the Cougars on the power play in this case. But Moore goes to the box. Catholic Central 0 for 3 on the advantage today, and twice they've cut their own power plays short by committing penalties. Four on four for the next 22 seconds. Esch, the goal-getter, rifles it wide from 40 feet out. Off the end boards, collected by Nichols. Stripped by Ten Harmsel. Nichols still fighting for it. Ten Harmsel down to both knees, and he worked it out to center. Carlander tapped it back to Ten Harmsel. 4 seconds to go, then the Cougars will be shorthanded. Mitchell forced the turnover high in the zone. Pastelli whipped it right back into the attacking end. It hit Carlander over the blue line, who was in an offside position, and so the whistle sounds. 1:33 to go on the Cal power play, which begins. It's their third. The Scots down a goal. They trailed this one 2-0 on goals by Onstadt and Moore. For Cal, Harmon Esch with his 10th of the season. Sova got crushed at center by Cohen Potter, and the Cougars clear all the way down. They can do that legally. They're shorthanded again. Potter forechecking like an absolute demon at the moment. Couldn't take it away from Esch, but he at least caused some trouble for the Scots. Carlander trying to take away the passing lane, but it still is worked on to Landon Moore. Dropped off. Ethan Sova cruising, dishing back. Esch mishandled, but it stays in the zone. Esch way out by the blue line to Sova, curling and firing, glove save. Aaron, and no further play. 2:59 to go in the period, 56 seconds remaining on the power play. And this penalty kill brought to you by Innovia Wealth. It has been a fantastic hockey game so far. Glad you're with us on Cougar Puck Radio. Feels like a playoff game today on this Monday before Christmas. Early present for all of us high school hockey fans in the area. Esch drives it down below the goal line. It scoots around the horn. Over there's Pastelli. He clears for Catholic Central. Look out, Reynolds nearly got run off by Esch, or he did, but he didn't get crushed, which could have happened there if he didn't get his head up. A lot of speed, a lot of physicality to this game. Esch run into by Reynolds and crushed down the ice by Heminger. He sends it the rest of the way. Heminger forechecking. Hogue lifted it by him. Good pass from the goalie, who does have an assist this year, I'll note. Lewandowski lifting it behind the Cougars' net. Pastelli, great use of his body to take control of the puck, worked it out to Reynolds, who helps it the rest of the way through neutral ice. The power play is going to end. Caledonia about to be 0 for 3. Reynolds, he nearly took it away from the backpedaling Baltimore, but at least he helped kill off the final few seconds of the advantage. We return to 5-on-5. Onstadt takes command. Hands to Pastelli, bumped into by Baltimore, but the play continues on up the wall. Heminger, it's in the equipment for a moment of a fallen Scott at the blue line, and the whistle sounds. That is Evan Moore, who fell on top of the puck and inadvertently ended up covering it and freezing it with 1:43 to go in the period. Flipped up off the glass and over to the far side. Lost our video feed for just a split second there. Sorry about that. Moore, no icing. It's waved off. I was going to say he dumped that from well ahead of the red line, but the linesman didn't think so. He was corrected. Moore a shot, gloved by Hogue. Again, looking around bodies. Some wearing Cal colors, some wearing Catholic Central colors. .116 left before our final intermission. Nice crowd today, too. Love to see it. Kappinga lets it rip off his back foot. About a foot over the crossbar, but worth a chance. He reaches ahead and rescued by Melo Mikkelsen. Backhand through to center. Sova smashes it behind the Cougars' net. Esch back to retrieve. 50 seconds to go in the second. Moore rings it around the wood. Melo Mikkelsen centering. Moore flicked it away, but right to Esch. Put it between his own legs, did Esch. But his pass back to the point is picked off by Reynolds. Looks out towards Gage Potter, but he couldn't take it cleanly in neutral ice. Gevorkian's got to hightail it back. Under a half minute left. He gives it up at center, does Gevorkian to Veliska, but end of a shift for the Scots. So a simple shoot in and a line change. A clear by Moore, hit Landon Moore up in the face. Meanwhile, Lewandowski turns the corner, shoots off the chest against Aaron. Came out of nowhere as Lewandowski has it again, and this time he misses high just as time runs out in the second period of play. 2 opportunities for Lewandowski, 1 stop by Aaron, 1 over the bar in the final few seconds. As I was saying, the clear from Parker Moore hit Landon Moore up high right under his face mask, and he was stunned. Meanwhile, the play continued, though. And that little interruption, or that distraction, I suppose you could say, not to be callous about it, but almost ended up leading to the tying goal for Cal. But it did not in the end. The Cougars maintain a 1-goal lead going into the third. Plenty more to come from Patterson. Stay with us on Cougar Puck Radio. The third period is brought to you by our Royal Blue sponsors, Crispback, Fox Motors, Sharp Automotive, and 3-in-1 Solutions. The Cougars lead the Scots 2-1 after 2 in this OK Roo Division showdown. With a win today, Catholic Central would move within 1 point of Caledonia for the top spot in the league. The Roo Division made up of teams from the Grand Rapids area in the OK Conference. The Fisher Division, more the Lakeshore side of things. Granville leads the Fisher, by the way. Strong start to the third period as Moore took it away and handed it off. Here comes Cooper Moss with a wrister that caroms off the pad of Sam Hogue. Back out the center, Kappinga drifts it right back in. 17 minutes separate the Cougars from what would be their biggest win of the season. Gage Potter centered, Kappinga, open shot, save, the rebound. Oh, and Hogue made a stop on Moss too. That looked like that might be a half open net, but Hogue pushed over to stop Moss and keep it a 2-1 game. Pastelli not trying to commit a penalty there as Esch got to the puck below the goal line and centered it and taken away by Kappinga. Works up the near wall off the boards, Gage Potter. The ninth grader, Gage Potter, another point today, an assist on Noah Onstadt's first period goal. Does not look like he's that young out there. Nichols trying to get around Onstadt, who did well to fend him off to the side wall. Potter got tied up with one of the Scots. The stick came loose, free from Nichols. He picked it up, and the Cougars dump in. Chasing it after it is Reynolds, following on Cohen Potter. Onstadt was calling for the puck at the left circle, but Potter had it stripped. Cohen Potter threw a hard shoulder into Mitchell's chest. Play continues on. Baltimore right to the front. Aaron plays the shell game with that one. He's got it covered with the glove. 15-13 to go in regulation time. We'll say regulation, as never know what might happen. Close game. I think the Cougars would prefer to avoid overtime if they could, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Off the scramble draw, Carlander ends up with it. The rangy senior lost control of it. Onstadt pumps it all the way down, and it's right on net, so Hogue has to make a save from 150 feet away. His easiest stop of the day. Evan Moore ran into trouble, taken away by Heminger. Tried the toe drag, but Veliska got his stick in the way. We've seen Heminger score on a takeaway earlier this month against the Jeffers Jets. Lewandowski looked to snipe from the the near side boards, but he misfired. Off the far side wall, centered, edge, backhand, save. No, it went in. It bounced in behind Aaron, and it's tied 2-2. I thought Aaron had it. It might have just ricocheted in off his equipment, and it settles just a few inches over the goal line. 14:28 left in the third, and Esch has scored his second goal of the game, and Cal has tied it. Well, that one fooled me from up here, but it didn't fool Esch. He was celebrating right away. That caused me to take a second look at it, and yes, it was in over the line. So you expected pushback, or at least you should have, after the Cougars took a 2-0 lead, and that's what we've seen here today. New hockey game. Evan Moore, lead pass, broken up. Heminger takes control. Parker Moore starting back for the Cougars. He lost control as he aimed to go between a couple of Scots. Esch on hat trick watch now, shoots from distance, way over the net on his off-wing side. McLean, the pull-up at center, left it behind. Sova shoots in from neutral ice. And again, Jacob doesn't want to take any chances. He holds on. 13:38 left. Both teams have done very well defensively this season. The Cougars have given up just 28 goals, counting the 2 today. Caledonia, 31. So both giving up right around the 2 per game mark, a little bit more than that. Gage Potter, a bouncing shot from the far side boards in front of the Cal bench, sticked away by Hogue. Nichols couldn't get around the Cougar defense, but he gets to the puck below the goal line nonetheless. Potter takes the loose biscuit and clears out to center. Lassoed by Quigley. He clears it ahead. Aaron stopped it behind his net. 13 minutes to go in regulation. Out to the point, Quigley. Banged it right back in deep. Onstad looks over his shoulder, but his pass eludes Gage Potter. End of his shift. Didn't have anything left in the tank there to reach it, and that's icing against the Cougars. Caledonia at 9-3. They've ripped off 5 straight wins after 2 consecutive losses at the end of November to Chippewa Valley and the Alpena Wildcats. Nearly turned over there as Landon Moore is causing havoc. This is Evan Moore over the blue line. Drives it around the horn. Ten Harmsel kept it moving north, off to Reynolds. Here comes Cohen Potter down the wing. Saved by Hogue on the sharp wrist shot from Cohen Potter. Looking for his 2nd goal of the year. But Hogue says no as he held his ground on the far side post. Cal started with 2 straight wins. They beat Portage and Rockford. They lost to Matawan. Then they beat Sparta, shut out Forest Hills Central, their rink rival here. And their last 5 wins over Salem, Big Rapids, Marysville, Grand Rapids Christian, and Brighton just this past weekend. Heminger off the faceoff, stuff try, stopped by Hogue again. And another faceoff upcoming in Cal territory. Catholic Central, meanwhile, they have wins this year over Jackson Lumen Christie as they chase this one back into their own end. Also, they beat Grand Rapids Christian, Forest Hills Northern here at this rink. Bay Reps here in a shootout. Huron Valley here in the West Michigan Hockey Showcase. Tied Jeffers and just beat Midland Dow the other day. And they got a forfeit win against Riverview Gabriel Richard, which used an ineligible player in the opener way back in mid-November. This is the final game of the calendar year. Quigley jamming it ahead. Aaron stops it there. Critical game, if you can say that much at this early stage of the season still. Quigley knocks it down at center ice as it ricocheted off of McLean. Heminger regathers for Catholic Central. Lead pass for Colin on. Wanted to go back to Heminger. He does latch onto it. Threw it out in front. Off of Gavorkian, the defenseman getting involved. Backhand in front of the goal, and it eludes Heminger. He's got to skate over toward the far wall. Esch lost his stick for Cal. Great move by Gage Potter, but he couldn't get all the way through. Poked out to the side wall. Heminger fanned on the shot, and Quigley escapes for Cal. After all that, Quigley a long drive into the glove of Aaron with Malum Mikkelsen lurking, looking for the rebound, but there was none. 10:53 remaining. We anticipated a good one. We got a good one today. 2-2. 2 unanswered for Cal after Catholic Central scored the first 2 of the game. Postelli stumbled a bit, but regained his balance. A deke, and he does at least work the puck out to center. Punch through, though. Baltima onto it. Big slap shot. Blocker save by Aaron. It deflects away to the far corner. Nichols to the point. And a wrister by Velisca headed off and turned over Mitchell. He's denied by Aaron. On the turnover, happened bang, bang. And nearly a third for Caledonia, but Jacob Aaron stands tall. Kapinga cruising down the right wing. Ran into resistance there. And the puck came loose, and it's cleared by Bryce Mitchell all the way down No icing. It settles short of the goal line. So Moore has got to hustle back for it, and he does. Good work there. Moore turns away from the forward checking Chase Gorby. Haven't called his name much today. And the puck is iced by the Cougars with now 9:51 left in the third. Defensive zone faceoff for Cohen Potter. He powers through Gorby. Good job, but the Scots are on the puck behind the goal. Lewandowski threw it out in front. Sharp pass, but picked off by Reynolds, who was in great defensive position. Potter parades back. His shot. Right off the shin pad of Itel, the defenseman. Potter, though, takes the puck, and he turned it over high in the zone. Landon Moore tried to feed over to Lewandowski. That's going to be an offside. That's going to be intentional offside. I don't know why Landon Moore decided to take a swing at that puck. Made no sense outside of just his frustration, so the Cougars will gladly take the draw back down to our left. Otherwise, it was going to be a neutral ice. 9:20 remaining. One goal in this period scored by Caledonia's Harmonesh, his second of the game, 11th of the season. And there is Esch, number 6 in white. Poked it through center, and it's a 3-on-1 for Cal all of a sudden. Esch centering, it was blocked, came right through. Aaron made a save on the accidental shot. Esch corrals and fires, save Aaron off his pad, and it's covered. And then Cohen Potter is dumped after the whistle by Ethan Sova. And the Cougars are saying, where's the penalty? But I don't think there's going to be one. Esch tried to pass it on that 3-on-1 opportunity, and it was blocked, came right back to him, and it deflected in on goal. Aaron made a save on that, even though it wasn't intended to be a shot in that case. Sova goes forward off the draw, tries to stuff it in, and Aaron has the answer again. And another stoppage in play. Boy, it's been intense out there. Fun to call for me, hopefully fun to watch for you. Malum Mikkelsen pulls the trigger on a wrister, and that's blocked away. The Cougars flick it to center. Moss takes command. Good shot, better save by Hogue. Gavorkian plays it in deep. Kappinga trying to pull it loose of Itel, and it does eventually come on to Carlander of Catholic Central. Back to the point more. Snapshot deflected over the glass. But the faceoff stays in the attacking zone. Every shift taking on increased importance. Catholic Central has technically played one overtime game this year, although it was not truly that, as it was in the West Michigan Showcase, and we just went straight to a shootout in that situation. They were also tied 4-4 with Jeffers a week and a half ago up in Gaylord at the D3 Challenge. This is icing against Caledonia, but in that game, there was no overtime at all. It just went right to a tie, which I wasn't actually sure was was allowable under MHSAA rules. I thought you had to have some sort of a tie-breaking format or scenario. Typically, in a regular season game, it's 8 minutes of 5-on-5 overtime, sudden death. And if no one scores there, then it's a tie. Well, we're still a ways away from that. Just trying to set the table for you. Parker Moore swats it out of the air. That's called offside. Boy, I don't know about that. We're almost right here on the blue line, and that looked like that was hovering over the blue line, not out in neutral ice. But it's not my opinion that matters, as we well know by now. 8:05 left in the third. A few stoppages mixed in, halting our rhythm in this final regulation period. McLean couldn't quite flag it down cleanly, but there's Heminger following on. McLean, back to the point it goes. Gevorkian had to catch it in his midsection and poke to center ice. Moore regroups to Gevorkian, high off the glass. McLean tipped it down. Bultema took it and spun it all the way in on net. Aaron the stick save. McLean lost control to Evan Moore, but the hard-hitting Cade Heminger blasted him, knocked him down. The puck loose to the Cougars. McLean, Lewandowski got in his vision, knocked the puck away to the far boards. Heminger retrieves. Moore with some room up the middle. Good pass to McLean. Stretching out, Caleb McLean, who had an assist on Moore's goal back in the second period, Collinon follows on. Heminger bumped him, loose at the side of the net. And the pass goes off the skate of Lewandowski. He locates it, though. Lewandowski cutting toward the middle. Fended off to the end boards. Lewandowski centering off of Aaron. He didn't know where it was, but fortunately Gage Potter did. He poked it out to the blue line. And from the near side, he hits Ten Harmsel with a pass. The Scots clear. Lewandowski ran into the linesman. That's offside against the Cougars. They tag up. Now it's legal. Evan Moore, bank pass far side, on the money to Esch. Esch has both Cal goals today, but he lost control on the check. Kappinga did a good job. Postelli throwing it right to the crease. Hogue sticks it to the far boards. Moss delivers it behind the goal. Kappinga. Now Potter. Both unable to make anything happen. Malin Mikkelsen. He was obstructed there at the blue line, but now he takes the lead pass. Mikkelsen set up the first goal for Cal back in the second period. It was 2-0 Catholic Central. Toward the net front. Ten Harmsel takes over. And Ten Harmsel to the near wall. Potter kicked it back into center ice. Esch. Malin Mikkelsen wanted to go back to Esch on the give and go. That didn't connect. Too many Cougar bodies in the slot. Evan Moore feels like he's played about half the game. Centering play tipped away from Sova. Pass came from Malin Mikkelsen. Moore yanked it back across to his teammate Bryce Mitchell, filling in on the defensive side of things. Hogue stops the puck. Carlander on the forward check. 5 to go in the third. Cohen Potter controls on his backhand. Snaps the forehand pass. Bounced over the stick of Onstadt. Tough break for Catholic Central. They had something going there in the attacking zone. Onstadt, though, directs it to Carlander. Carlander said, I touched it. It's ruled an icing. And Parker Moore is saying, how in the world can that be an icing call? He was slapping his stick on the ice, and it's hard to blame him. That's a big moment in this game. 4:41 to go, and the Cougars are on the defensive suddenly. Swung right through the top of the crease and wide. The chase is on, back in Scott's territory. Moore overtaken by Moss. Centered Kappinga, backhand just missed on the short side. Back the other way it goes. Parker Moore turned it over, but that's a delayed offside against Cal on the shoot-in by Bultema. Off of Aaron, right to Parker Moore. Bank play, Moore takes it himself. He's got some speed. Moore with a goal in this game, but he had it poked away by Mitchell in the defensive effort. Nichols, 1-on-2, put it into the skates of Onstadt. Onstadt delivered the shoulder check. All clean and legal there. The Cougars lose control high in their own zone. Nichols kicked it, but right to Onstadt. 3:48 left. Catholic Central 2, Caledonia 2. Long lead pass, Kappinga trying to get behind the defense. Didn't quite work out. Good try as Lewandowski regroups through center. Ty Lewandowski to the middle on his backhand. Centered shot. Aaron the save on the backside. Drive by Landon Moore, and he holds onto it. Just as importantly, 3:28 to go. That had all the makings for Caledonia as Lewandowski attracted attention, as he often does, maneuvering to the left side and his pass back against the grain, right on the money to Moore. But Aaron had it read like one of those cheap novels you get at the airport. Gorby against Cohen Potter. Potter won the draw away. I think Aaron actually got a stick on it. Gavorkian parades back. Headman delivery. Potter can't get there as Hogue is out of his goal to play it away to Landon Moore. Up the boards it goes. Through center and on down. That was deflected apparently by Gavorkian. No icing. 3 left in the third period. The pass ahead off a stick at center. Esch got in the way of that. Malin Mikkelsen flicked it, but right to Karsten Carlander of Catholic Central. Here's Sova throwing a pass into the slot, deflected by Gavorkian, who tumbles down on the hit from Esch. Esch in the corner, try to bank play off the pad of Aaron and deflected away. Carlander takes it from Ten Harmsel back to Ten Harmsel from a sharp angle, stopped by Hogue. We go end to end. Malin Mikkelsen handing to Sova, trying to get past Pastelli, no sail. 2:20 remaining. Pastelli clears off the wall. It's free to Sova. Look out. Fan on the shot. No, his stick actually broke. And a penalty has been called, and I think it's against Sova for unsportsmanlike conduct. 2:11 to go, and the Cougars get a power play. As Sova slammed his stick off the ice, Coach Kyle Marchand behind the Cougars bench was loving it as he looked over and saw his team was about to get a late man advantage chance. 4th power play of the game upcoming. Sova, you understand his frustration certainly as the stick failed him in a critical moment, but you can't spike your stick like that, especially a broken stick. That's dangerous potentially. Could cause an injury. That's why the call. It makes sense. Onstad hands to Moss. Right back to Onstad, cutting down the slot. Backhand, save Hogue, still loose. Onstad again, a backhand, saved by Hogue again. And Potter couldn't get to the rebound. He got tied up, but the Scots can't clear. Moss dished it below the goal line. A power play goal for the Cougars, and they take a late lead. Here's Onstad. More a shot, and it's redirected into the near corner. On the careening one-timer, Nichols checking Onstad from behind. Play continues. Moore shoots. Blocked in the slot. Ends up in the corner. Moss with 1:33 to go in the third period. In a tie game. Moss controlling, settling that puck. Couldn't get the pass across. Now he does. It goes off Onstad right to Moore. He shoots, it's blocked, and look out. Lewandowski, short-handed breakaway against Aaron. He's in, stopped by Aaron. Play continues. 1:14 to go in the third. Wow, still tied. Both teams with opportunities on this late power play. 50 seconds to go on the power play, by the way. Capping a Feld at center ice. Play continues. No call there. Moore, great pass. Carlander overlapping. Centering. Save by Hogue. Unbelievable stop on Potter. Show-stopping saves at both ends by both goalies. Sam Hogue and Jacob Aaron putting on a goaltending display in the final minutes of regulation. Absolutely stunning. Great pass from Carlander too, and Potter couldn't believe he couldn't get it past the glove of Hogue. And a timeout has been called with 37 seconds still to go on this power play. 48 seconds separating us from overtime, potentially. And I think Cal called that timeout, if I'm not mistaken. Catch your breath. Everyone in the building is doing that right now. Lewandowski with a shorthanded breakaway. Puck rolled on him a bit. And Aaron kept his pad pressed against the ice to deny the forehand chance. And we just saw Hogue reach out with the glove, sprawling, to keep Gage Potter from potentially winning the game for the Cougars. Timeout's over. And the face-off down to our left. The Cougars send Kappinga, Moss, Gage Potter as the forwards, Parker Moore, and Noah Onstad as the defenseman. And Onstad takes the face-off win from Kappinga, works it back across. This is Moore, a shot out of the glove of Hogue, but it rattles right over to Esch, and he flips it high in the air, down behind Onstad. He's got to chase back as Mitchell is in hot pursuit. 30 seconds to go in the third. 19 seconds left on the Cougars' power play. They've had some chances, but they have not been able to put one in. Moss, set sail. It comes loose in the middle, right to Kappinga. Shooting glove save, Hogue. And there was plenty of distraction for Sam Hogue as his defenseman, Aiden Eitel, had fallen in the crease. And Kappinga tried to shoot that way toward the right post, but Hogue had it covered, snatching it out of the air. In 4 seconds, Sova comes out of the box. And what do we have here? Another timeout, it looks like. This time taken by Caledonia. So the first timeout was taken by Catholic Central. Now the Scots want to talk it over, give their defensive players some rest, and simply settle things down. 15 seconds to go in the third. Onstad and Moore, the goal getters for Catholic Central. They were both out there at the end of that power play, and there's still some time left on the power play, just 4 seconds. Harmon Esch has both for Caledonia, but feels like the goalies have taken over in the third. Catholic Central had a 2-0 lead in this game. Trying to lay down the gauntlet here before the Christmas break. I'd say they've done so, but this is a difficult opponent in the Caledonia Fighting Scots. And potentially 3 periods might not be enough to settle things. Kappinga against Esch. At the dot, Kappinga wins the draw, but stepping up to take it, Mitchell, and he hammers it off the boards and out. Down it goes, the puck is rolling. Moore has to try to control it. Couldn't send it out of the zone. Esch picked it off. He centered Mitchell. On back to Sova. 2 seconds to go, and the Scots cannot pull the trigger on the shot. We will go to sudden death from Patterson. Take a short break on Cougar Puck Radio, and we'll bring it back after 2 minutes for the start of overtime. 8 minutes loaded on the scoreboard clock. I know you're not going anywhere. There's a buzz here at Patterson as we see two of the top teams in West Michigan go to overtime, and we start 5-on-5. Just pure, straight-up hockey. No gimmicks in OT. First team to score wins. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is Cougar Puck Radio. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like what you've seen so far. How could you not love this game? A high stick on the puck at center ice by Caledonia, but the Cougars touched it next, so play continues. Onstad shovels it up and out. And there's no point given in the standings for making it to overtime. If you win, you get both points. If you lose, you get none. Reynolds on the move. Jack Reynolds down the wall, centered it out in front, looking for Cohen Potter. It's deflected away from him. 30 seconds into overtime. Cohen Potter dusted it off, passed it down the wall, over to Carlander, back out high to Reynolds. Try to go back to Carlander, fended off by the Scots, and Ethan Sova picks it off and he clears. So Sova's relieved to be back out there as he committed the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty late in regulation that nearly gave the Cougars the win. Carlander turned it right back toward the front of the net. He knew Potter was making a beeline for the front of the goal. Carlander's backhand pass, Moss off the bench, couldn't control it at the faceoff dot. Bryce Mitchell, the initial thrust for Caledonia in overtime. He's stripped of the puck, and Onstad takes it right back. Ice is going to be choppy here, too. You got to be sure of yourself. Strong on that bottom hand. Onstad through center. 1-on-3, Onstad a shot. That scoots wide of the net. Moss on the near side. Kappinga pulled it loose, but right to a Scott. And back with it comes Drew Nichols. Nichols, quick skater, but he's stick checked beautifully by Parker Moore, who hammers it out to center ice. Turn right back into Cougars territory. Aaron stops it for his defenseman Moore. Up the wall it goes, angled on to Gage Potter. He had the best chance to win it for the Cougars in the third. Kappinga, a snapshot blocked, and then Kappinga goes down as Quigley got in the way. Out through center, Moore settles it down and calms things down with a dump in for Catholic Central. 6 to go in overtime. Kappinga facetiously calling for the puck, and it's turned over to Moore. He tried to go into the slot for Carlander, but the pass away from his reach. Ty Lewandowski, 8 goals on the year. Sharp angle shot, kicked out. Nichols shooting, and it's blocked. Parker Moore, that one hurt as he shakes his left hand in pain. Cleared by Carlander, no icing. That puck didn't have a chance to get all the way down. Sova takes it back for Caledonia. Clearing pass by Veliska on back into Cougars real estate. Morgan Pastelli played it behind Reynolds, but safely out with 5:11 left in the OT. No whistles yet in overtime. Oh, Veliska's tripped. There goes that. Cohen Potter's going to the box, and Cal gets an overtime power play in just a few moments, and the Cougars have already taken their timeout, so they don't get a chance to talk it over. Potter forechecking hard, trying to create something. Can't fault him for that, and it's the rare trip with the leg. Usually in hockey, tripping is with the stick. But in this case, either way, the call goes against Potter and the Cougars, and they've got to kill off a power play. 5:02 to go in overtime. Can Moss get to this puck? Esch lifted his stick. Esch, 2 goals in the game. Kappinga checking him on the near boards. Ten Harmsel attempting to fish that puck out, but it stays on the wall. And the Scots dish it on back to Evan Moore. His pass across off the stick of Moss, and it caroms to center. That relieves the pressure. Esch mishandles a pass. Cooper Moss swerving through. Short-handed chance. Moss poke check by the goalie. Sam Hogue just flicked that stick out there. Moss turned it back out in front and taken on the move by Bryce Mitchell. Mitchell in a 2-on-2 rush. Cutting inside, poke checked again by the Cougars. This time it was Onstad, and it's cleared up to the far line. Reynolds in front of the bench, breakaway, stopped by Hogue. Reynolds gets it right back, and he flicked it over the top of the net. Wow. a shorthanded breakaway in overtime. And Reynolds, who scored in a shootout at that very same net to win the game for the Cougars earlier this month, could not get it done that time against Hogue. Reynolds was trying to change, but the puck came right to him at the bench. So many twists and turns in this one. Best hockey game of the year for sure, at least that I've seen. More centering off a stick in front and just wide of the goal. In front again, and a whistle sounds. I don't know what for. Was the net dislodged? Not entirely certain. The puck was bouncing around. And ruled to have been frozen, apparently, in and around the net. 27 seconds left on the power play for Caledonia. 3:31 remaining in overtime. If nobody scores in OT, it's a tie. Off the tie-up. Ten Harmsel clears off Sova, and there's Reynolds. Jack Reynolds getting his feet moving. Heminger joins the rush. Reynolds passing in front, and it just eluded the reach of Heminger. Back the other way. The Scots throw it away right to Onstad. He hammers it away and down. The power play is about to be over. Hogue saucers a pass to center, intercepted by Ten Harmsel. Cleared it off the glove of Malin Mikkelsen. Ten Harmsel with some speed. Hands off a shot by Carlander, gobbled up by Hogue. 2:56 remaining in overtime. And back to 5-on-5 we go. Well, if anyone wins this game, they'll have earned it. Plenty of sweat equity put forth on both sides today. And the crowd has eaten up every bit of it. Capping it against Mitchell on the far side. Or pardon, that was Nichols, I should say. And Nichols and the Scots clear to center. 2:44 left. Players collide at center. Pastelli has to hustle back, pressuring the puck. Baltima. Pastelli nearly took a hit there from Gorby, but he forced it up the near side boards and out. Did Morgan Pastelli, senior defender for the Cougars. Quigley does a button hook in his own end for Cal. Quigley wobbled a bit, but he passed it right by Capping it to the far side and dumped in by Nichols. Pastelli first on it for Catholic Central. Capping it, clears up the wall. He's going to get to his own feed and swat it away. On the bouncing puck, controlled by Eitel. And he couldn't connect in front of his own bench to Jagger Burns. But a turnover, it's Burns. Shooting toward the front, deflected. Aaron the save on Mitchell, who I'm not sure was actually trying to tip that. He might have been trying to catch that shot pass toward the front. Either way, it ended up on goal. And Aaron stops the music with 1:55 remaining. I usually cut highlight reels after the Catholic Central games. This one might be 10 minutes long. There's so much to go back and recap. The flip down by Carlander. It's going to go wide of Hogue, though, and it's an icing as he let go of the puck a few feet shy of center ice, did Carson Carlander. 1:47 remaining. Will there be a capper, or will it be a deadlock? That's the drama that's left. Throw to the front, looking for Ash was Sova, but great checking from Heminger and company. Banked ahead, Cohen Potter with a chance, saved by Hogue, loose in front, cleared away by the Scots. Onstad takes it, shoots it, blocked by the sliding Sova. All the way back into Cougars territory. Gavorkian hit the linesman with the attempted clear, and well, thank goodness that didn't lead to anything. That would have been an awful way to end it. Cohen Potter in over the line, lost control to Malin Mikkelsen. A backhand, just off the glove of Esch. Otherwise, it would have been a 2-on-1. Here we go in transition for the Cougars. 1:09 left. Cohen Potter on it again. Potter looking, centering, Gevorkian stepping up, but Esch pokes it away, and Esch 1-on-2. The pull-up move. Esch, top of the circle, shooting short side. He missed. And it hopped over Lewandowski's stick on the far side wall. Heminger takes it near wing. Under a minute to play in overtime. Make it 45 seconds. Heminger to his own dump in. Looking, throwing through the crease. Nobody home. Ten Harmsel latches onto it. Great move. Backhand. Save. Hogue with the glove. Ten Harmsel couldn't get much on that shot. 34 seconds remaining. Great way to go into the break. And you wonder if these teams know, hey, we don't have a game for a couple of weeks. Leave everything you have out there. Kappinga, open, save, Hogue, rebound, and Moss couldn't get to it, and it's jammed away by Cal. That might have been the last good chance. Maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. Moore rounds his own net. Moore looking up. Oh, he sends it ahead. It's a 3-on-2 potentially, if the Cougars can move it quickly. Moore a shot. Hogue the save. It was loose on the ice for a second, and Cooper Moss tried to jam it in. Great effort from Cooper. But with 11 seconds left, it's potentially one more face-off in this game. Catholic Central has taken it to Cal all afternoon long. We'll make it evening. We're now past 6 o'clock with this one, as we're working overtime at Patterson. Some dispute on the line change again. Moore and Ten Harmsel or the D. Kappinga, the center, up against Ethan Sova. Kappinga goes forward with it, trying to get to that puck behind the goal. 8 seconds left. Kappinga with Reynolds. Moss out to the point. Shot by Moore. Missed the goal. Might have been deflected. There's the buzzer. And it's a 2-2 tie between Catholic Central and Caledonia. Certainly a just result, but maybe a little bit disappointing for both sides, as both teams felt like they could have put one more in. As it stands, Catholic Central moves to 7-3-2 on the season, and Cal 9-3-1. Cal maintains that 3-point lead over Catholic Central atop the OK Roo division. Handshakes coming up at center ice. Once again, thank you for watching on Cougar Puck Radio. Goal scorers for Catholic Central, Noah Onstad and Parker Moore. For Caledonia, 2 for Harmon Esch. The goalies took over late, though, and fittingly, they exchanged the first handshake of the post-game lineup. Jacob Aaron for Catholic Central, Sam Hogue for Caledonia. Both young men got it done for their respective sides, and it was a privilege to be here for one of the best high school hockey games I've seen in my 5 years of calling it here in West Michigan. First game after the break for Catholic Central will be against Rockford, another OK Roo Division foe. That's on Friday, January the 2nd, 2026, 5 o'clock face-off at Belknap, Griff's Ice House against the Rams. Hope to see you there. Until then, have a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a fantastic new year. This is Matt Gajtka saying good night. God bless.